Hi guys, I'm gonna be honest and let you guys know that I'm sad. And when I'm sad and alone, I have found that filming and talking about books brings me so much joy. I've said this in other videos. So I'm just gonna vlog. We're gonna talk about books, and that's gonna perk me right up. And so today is a Monday, and I'm gonna vlog probably for this week and tell you what I'm reading. You met the cats in my last vlog, and that was always a temporary situation. We were fostering those cats and they're gone now. And give me a second. And the cats are gone, and I'm more emotional about it than I anticipated. I thought I'd be able to harden my heart with them, and I did not, I guess. So the cats are gone, and I'm really sad about it. Not that I don't love my dog Hiccup, it's a loss, and I'm coping as best I can. You know, let's distract myself, let's fill the house with noise, even if it's just me talking to myself. So let me tell you what I'm reading, and we can start this week vlogging off. So currently I am about 20% into The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is a sci-fi novella. It's a short novel, I'd say, about this woman named Evelyn whose husband cheats on her with Evelyn's clone. So it's very complicated and messy and very character driven so far, and I'm loving it. Sarah Gailey's writing is really great. I'm having such a good time with her writing, and I'm very intrigued by this premise and where we are so far. Her characterization and her writing is just so exquisite. I was able to understand Evelyn as a character right away. It's a first-person perspective, which I particularly enjoy, and just I really understand Evelyn as a character. Even though Evelyn isn't telling us everything, she is giving us clues as to how she's feeling and her character right away, and I'm just really enjoying it. The other book I am in the middle of is Environmental Racism, which is a nonfiction book about how pollution and corporations pollute that directly impact the minds and the brain chemistry of minorities and those communities affected by pollution. This is fantastic. This is so well researched, but it is to the point where I can only read it in like kind of short chunks because it's very interesting, so I'm kind of processing it very slowly. So this is a very fascinating piece of nonfiction, and I'm really, enjoying it. Enjoying the writing, appreciating the topic and the content. And so those are the two books I'm in the middle of, and I will let you know any other books that I pick up or an update on these books as I get a little bit further. So I will see you later in this vlog. Okay, I just heated up my lunch, so it's like literally 5 minutes later. Should I spoil this? It might be in the synopsis of the Goodreads. This is a sci-fi thriller, Echo Wife. This is a sci-fi thriller. And the clone just killed the husband. And this is in the first 20% of the book, so I don't think that's a spoiler, but if it is, I'll just cut this clip out. But like, it is the end of my work day on Monday, and I worked a lot, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Means I accomplished a lot and have a really good head start on the work week. project-wise. However, my wrists are completely destroyed. So I need to take it easy. I need to get off my computer. I need to get off my phone. No scrolling. Nothing like that. But you know what? I decided to pick up a physical book while I'm blogging, and I've been looking at my shelf over here, and I was like, man, something's really calling out to me to reread and to annotate again, because I had such a fun time annotating Chloe Brown that I decided to reread and annotate Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a 400-page book with fairly large text. Hopefully that's not a steamy scene. But I was just looking at this on my shelves. I could see the spine, and I was like, you know what? I want to revisit these characters for a little bit of comfort. And I've got some Post-its that I thought would be cute sticking out here. And I actually wanted to show something off to you guys as well. So while I'm reading this, I'm going to be using this little, it's called like a book hook. So it's just like a little plastic hook, two hooks, and it's adjustable for the size of your book. And so you open it up like this, and then you slip the sides of your book in it, and then it holds the pages open for you. And I have used this actually when I was rereading Chloe Brown, and I actually really liked how it worked with the paperback. So I'm gonna try it again with Red, White, and Royal Blue. And these are adjustable, so you can like take this piece off, and then it's got little grooves and knobs, so you can change, you can slide this out and make one side bigger. And you can see one hook. Well, maybe you can't see. This hook is a little bit bigger, or a little bit smaller. This is a little bit smaller than this hook. So once you get to the halfway, so you're supposed to put the bigger side of the book on this side. And then once you get halfway, you take the book out and you flip it. Yeah, so that's how it works. And I am going to be showing off this bad boy while I read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Hello. I have now read 50 pages of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and it is just as funny as I remember. This is now my 4th read of this rom-com, this gay, sweet rom-com, and I love it so much. I am sitting in my sunroom with all of my plants around me, and I'm feeling a lot better. I am getting sleepy, so I think I'm going to pause reading with my eyeballs and maybe go read with my ears instead. quickly to say I finished The Echo Wife because I just literally sat here on the couch listening for 4 hours straight. It was really good. So there is at my library they have little reviewer blurbs, and one of the blurbs was from Entertainment Weekly or something, and it was Sarah Gailey takes a really twisted approach to a domestic thriller, and that I believe is super duper accurate. It is a domestic thriller with a sci-fi spin to it with clones, and it was fabulous and twisty and very character driven, and I loved it. Today's Tuesday. I said I would kind of wrap up my final thoughts on The Echo Wife when it was sunny and I could be a little bit more coherent. So I ended up giving the book 4.5 out of 5 stars, and it's listed as a sci-fi thriller, so I'm not going to go into too much detail because I feel like with thrillers specifically, the less you know, maybe the better. But here are just some general thoughts as to why I gave it a 4.5. So first off, I really liked the writing in this. The narration is from Evelyn's point of view, and she's a very interesting character, and the way that the writing was done, I think, really captured her as a character really well. And I just enjoyed the writing quite a bit as I was listening. Evelyn as a character, straight up, is such a good character. If you appreciate morally gray / bad people as characters, I think this book is going to be really good for you. I really enjoyed Evelyn as a character. She's not going to be for everyone because she's unlikable, which basically she is a bad person in real life. If she was a real person, I wouldn't want to be friends with her, but she is a type of character that I really enjoy reading about, and especially because we get her point of view. I find that fascinating, and I think it was pulled off really well. I think there are a lot of really interesting conversations in this book about personhood and individuality, which is kind of an interesting theme. Obviously, we're talking about cloning technology and what that would look like. And I think there are some interesting themes surrounding that cloning technology that I think were explored in an interesting way in kind of a thrilling aspect. Now, when I say thriller, I think that might give some people the wrong idea. This isn't a jump scare psychological thriller. It's a slow-paced character study thriller. So more of, and it's not, it doesn't even have a haunted house creep, those types of creepy vibes. It's truly kind of a descent into Evelyn's mind and the way her mind works as the situation is unfolding and the things they have to do to cover up the murder of her ex-husband. So take thriller, I guess, with a grain of salt. By the end of the book, once we see Evelyn's entire character arc, I was chilled to my core. That's all I'll say. That is all I will say without spoiling things. I thought this was really well done. I really liked the writing. I thought it was great. And so now it is Tuesday. I am on my lunch break. I managed to read another 50 pages of Red, White, and Royal Blue last night before I went to sleep. So I am now 100 pages in, and I'm having a great time with this rom-com. It's so funny. I knew it was funny, and I've obviously read it before, but it's literally making me laugh out loud, which is a nice contrast from the thriller. Really quickly, I totally forgot that I was also reading a nonfiction book at the moment. which is A Terrible Thing to Waste, environmental racism, and how it affects the mind. This book, I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, I forgot I was reading it because I've been trying to get through some of the books that I got from my library, and this is a book that I have on Libro FM, so I actually own this one. So I was kind of focusing on the library books, but I am in the middle of this, and I am 2 parts in. I still have like 5 hours left, so I have quite a bit of that left. And when I introduced this book, I named it incorrectly, so my bad. I am still on my lunch break for a little bit longer, but I really need to be focusing on this book. So I'm reading Red, White, and Royal Blue and A Terrible Thing to Waste. I keep wanting to say the title of this book is just Environmental Racism, which is not, that's not it. I do better. Anyway, I just thought it would be fun to show you guys my sunroom, which is clearly a work in progress, but I'm super happy with the plants that have survived through the winter and some of the new plants that I just got and potted. You can see all of those flower beds I did this weekend, and of course it snowed the very next day, so they are all inside right now, but as soon as it's consistently warm out for them, they will be going outside to liven up my yard. So that is my sunroom. I just wanted to, I don't know, show it off a little bit. And I will also do a reading update. So it is Wednesday, and I did manage to get 2 chapters further into A Terrible Thing to Waste. I am learning a lot from this book. This book is way smarter than me. It's very medical heavy, very science, technical heavy. The author isn't writing in a complicated way. I just think I don't, in general, have a mind for science and medical information very well. So sometimes I am like, okay, this is interesting, but I don't know how much I'm like retaining like the minutia, if that makes sense. That is where I'm at. It's my husband's day off today, so I don't know if I will be able to do another check-in. So that is kind of why I wanted to show you the sunroom, so you had something interesting to look at for this day. Hello, good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. It is 60 beautiful degrees out today. Mwah, perfection. So I'm feeling really good. The sun is out. It's warm-ish, enough that I can get away with a t-shirt, and I'm so excited. Last night, reading update, I read another 100 pages of Red, White, and Royal Blue. Still loving it, having a great time reading that. Today, I have a lot to do around the house because I'm feeling so good. I hope to accomplish a lot and possibly listen to my audiobook while I do that. So hopefully you'll get some kind of montage of chores, outdoor activities, yard work, who knows. We'll see what I include in about 2 seconds. It's so nice out today. I took Hiccup here on a walk. I spent some time cleaning up the house, doing some dishes and all that boring stuff. And I finally got out the patio furniture. So I am thinking about spending a good chunk of my day now reading. So I've got my AirPods in, thinking about listening to, I'm almost done with one of my chapters in my audiobook. The chapters are really long, so they're like 2 hours each. So I'm almost done with one. I think I'm gonna take a break and pick up more Red, White, and Royal Blue. It is a little windy, as you can see. The camera is like, whoa. So it's a little windy out, so I don't know how much physical reading I can do. If the wind is too annoying, maybe I'll just listen to the audio, but that is the plan. We match. I had dinner, and now I'm having dessert. Raisins. And I've read another 80 pages of Red, White, and Royal Blue. And let me tell you why I love this. I love this book because it's funny. The dialogue between all the characters is hilarious. You've got great and diverse side characters who feel like real people. It's got political commentary on American politics. It's got commentary on the crown. Obviously, it talks about gay rights and gay people being awesome, which is great. Love to see gays being happy. I find this story just so compelling. These two men just falling in love with each other, and whether for good or for ill, trying to be together. And yes, they're both political figures and kind of have to toe the line. They can't help but fall for each other. And it's so sweet. They have such good chemistry between them. They have really, really sweet scenes where they're emotionally vulnerable with each other. They have really steamy scenes together. It's just so well balanced, in my opinion. I'm very shiny in this light, but I finished. I have feelings. I mean, I've read it before, so clearly I'm just re-experiencing those same feelings I've had 3 times previously, because I've read this so many times, but this just warms my little heart. Look at how many feelings I had. I'm actually tearing up a little bit. Anyway, I finished this Thursday night. I've got one more day of vlogging, and I've thoroughly screwed up my wrists by reading this all night, but it was worth it. My heart is happy, but my wrists are screaming. This was fabulous. I love it so much. I should reread my favorite romance books all the time. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow. Hello everyone. It is Friday, and to be honest, I am not having the best day. So I'm feeling a little anxious. I have some feelings. So I'm gonna end the vlog here. So in this little section, I'm just gonna wrap up and tell you everything I was able to read and give you like the breakdown. So first, I started reading The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. This is a sci-fi thriller, and let me look at the page count. And it is 256 pages. I listened to it on audio from my library, and this was fantastic. I had a great time. I gave it 4.5 stars. Then throughout the week, I was able to read 50% of A Terrible Thing to Waste. Let me look at the subtitle. Environmental Racism and Its Assault on the American Mind. Now, I was hoping to read this whole thing this week, but with how I'm feeling today, it's not gonna happen. But I was able to get 50% in, which is about 180 pages of this read. I'm learning a lot from this book. I'm taking my time with it. I think it's also fascinating and really well done. So highly recommend this if you're interested in nonfiction and working on your anti-racism. Of course, the last book that I read in its entirety this week, because I just picked it up on a whim, was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I have read this now 4 times. This is the first time I read it physically, and Red, White, and Royal Blue is a gay romance set in an alternate timeline where in 2016 the US elected a female president, and this is about the son of that female president and the Prince of Wales, the Prince of England, falling in love together, and it is super sweet and steamy and everything that I love about romances, and this is 421 pages. So total, I was able to read, I think, 850 pages in 4.5 days, which is pretty good. My wrists are really hurting though because I pushed myself to read physically, so I'm gonna probably be sticking to my audiobook for a little while. But I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope I get it out relatively soon, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.